If you're paying 20 bucks a month for Claude and 20 bucks a month for ChatGPT, one of those payments is dead money. That's the whole thing this video is about. Claude versus ChatGPT for actual daily work run by a normal person who isn't an engineer. And here's the plain answer up front so you don't have to wait for it. For most people, one of these two is enough. Claude tends to win on long, careful writing and following instructions to the letter. ChatGPT tends to win on speed, images, and connecting to other tools. Neither one is better. They're built for different bottlenecks. So the real question isn't which one is smarter. It's which one matches the thing that actually slows you down in your week. Figure that out, and you cancel the other one and keep the money. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which subscription to kill. Let me show you how to decide criterion by criterion with no hype and no fanboy nonsense. Here's why this keeps tripping people up. Both of these tools sit at about the same price for their main paid plan. Check the current numbers yourself because they shift, but they're close enough that price isn't the tiebreaker. So what happens is people sign up for one because a friend mentioned it, then a few months later they sign up for the other because someone online swore it was better. And now there are two charges hitting the card every month, and nobody ever sits down to ask if they need both. Paying for both out of habit is the most common money leak I see with normal users and AI tools. It's not a huge number on its own, but it's a kind of quiet, recurring waste that runs for a year before anyone notices. And the fix takes about 5 minutes once you know what to look for. The trap is thinking you're choosing the best AI. You're not. You're choosing the one that fits your work. Let's get specific about what each one is genuinely good at. Start with writing, because that's where most owners and freelancers actually spend their time. Emails, proposals, client updates, blog posts, the boring stuff that still has to sound like a human wrote it. Claude has a reputation for long-form writing that holds its tone and stays nuanced over a big chunk of text. Say you feed it a messy voice memo transcript of you rambling about a client project and you ask for a clean 2-page proposal in a warm but professional voice. Claude tends to keep that voice steady from the first line to the last, and it doesn't drift into that stiff, over-formal robot tone as easily. It's also good at the thing where you say, don't use the word synergy, keep it under 400 words, and end on a question. It tends to actually follow all three of those at once instead of nailing one and forgetting the others. ChatGPT writes well too. Let's be fair. For a quick email or a punchy social caption, it's fast and it's fine. But on the long, careful stuff where tone and detailed instructions matter, Claude is the one I reach for first. So if your bottleneck is writing, the kind where the words have to carry your actual voice and follow a pile of specific rules, that points toward Claude. But hold on, because writing is only one part of the job, and the next criterion flips the whole thing. Now flip it. A lot of people don't have a writing bottleneck. Their bottleneck is they need a quick answer, a quick image, and they need it now. This is where ChatGPT earns its keep. It tends to feel fast and snappy for everyday back and forth. You ask a question, you get a usable answer, you move on. For the rhythm of a busy day where you're firing off 20 small asks, that speed adds up. And then there's images. ChatGPT can generate pictures right inside the same chat where you're working. Say you need a simple graphic for a social post, a rough logo idea to show a designer, or a mock-up of a product sitting on a shelf. You just describe it and it makes it no separate tool, no extra tab. That matters more than people think. If you run a small shop or a personal brand, you're constantly needing one decent image for a post or an ad, and being able to make it in the same place you write the caption is a real time saver. Claude is mainly a text tool. It's strong with words and reasoning, but image generation isn't its game in the same way. So if your week is full of quick questions and you're forever needing a graphic, that's a point firmly in ChatGPT's column, which means the answer is already splitting depending on who you are, and we're not done splitting it. Here's a criterion most people forget until it bites them. Does the AI plug into the other stuff you use? ChatGPT has leaned hard into being a hub. It can search the live web, work with files you upload, and connect to a growing set of outside tools and add-ons. So you can do more than chat. You can hand it a document and ask it to pull the key dates. You can point it at the current web for something that changed recently. Claude can work with documents and files too, and it's genuinely good at digging through a long one and reasoning about it. The newer versions have been pushing into connecting with outside tools as well, but the general feel is that ChatGPT has built out the wider web of integrations and the bigger menu of bolt-on tools. So if you picture your AI sitting at the center of your work, touching your files, the web, and your other apps, ChatGPT currently has the deeper bench for that. If you mostly want a sharp thinking partner for text and documents, Claude holds its own and then some. Notice what's happening. Every criterion sends a different kind of person to a different tool. That's the whole point, and it's why which is better is the wrong question. Stick with me, because the next one is the criterion that quietly matters most. Reasoning. The messy, multi-step thinking where you're not asking for a fact, you're asking the tool to actually work something out. Say you give it your rough numbers and ask which of two pricing plans makes more sense for your situation, and to explain the trade-offs. Or you paste a confusing contract clause and ask what it actually means in plain English and where the risk is. Both tools are strong here, and honestly, this is the area that changes fastest, so whatever's true this month might shift. Claude has a reputation for careful, step-by-step reasoning and for being measured when it's not sure. ChatGPT also has modes built for deeper thinking on harder problems. The practical takeaway is this: for most everyday reasoning, a small business decision, untangling a clause, planning out a project, both will get you a solid answer. You're not going to feel a night and day gap on the normal stuff. The gap shows up on the extremes, the really long documents, or the really finicky instructions. And we already covered who wins those, so reasoning isn't your tiebreaker. It's close enough that it cancels out for daily work. Which brings us to the mistake that actually costs people the most, and it's got nothing to do with which model is smarter. The biggest mistake I see isn't picking the wrong tool, it's refusing to pick at all. People keep both open, both paid, and they bounce between them on every task, convinced they're getting the best of both worlds. What they're actually getting is two bills, a split brain, and no real history in either one. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you. A lot of the value comes from sticking with one tool long enough that it learns your patterns and you learn its quirks. When you spread your work across two, you never build that rhythm in either. You're a tourist in both instead of a local in one. And the best of both worlds, feeling is mostly an illusion for daily work. On any given task, you don't need the theoretical best answer in the universe. You need a good answer, fast, in a place you know how to use. One tool you gotten fluent in beats two tools you half know. So the move isn't to find the perfect tool, it's to find the one that fits your main bottleneck. Commit to it and get genuinely good at it. That's where the real payoff lives, and it's almost always invisible until you stop splitting your attention. Let me make this dead simple, because the whole point was to help you cancel one today. If your week is mostly long, careful writing where tone and detailed instructions matter, proposals, articles, client emails that have to sound exactly like you, lean Claude and cancel the other. If your week is mostly quick answers, images you need on the spot, and plugging into your files, the web, and other tools, lean ChatGPT and cancel the other. If you genuinely can't tell which side you're on, default to the one that connects to more of your stuff, because flexibility wins when you're unsure and you can always switch later. Switching costs you nothing but a little setup time. Paying double every month costs you real money for nothing. Now, I've laid out the criteria as plainly and fairly as I can, but criteria on a chart and living with a tool every day are two different things. And after running both of these inside real businesses, the verdict I'd actually give a friend is this. Obviously, there is a clear winner here, and that is Claude. Claude 4.8 Supercode is absolutely overpowered. ChatGPT, if you're a generic user of AI and are a part of the masses, will then go ahead and use ChatGPT, but if you're a power coder or a vibe coder, then you're definitely going to want Claude Code with Opus 4.8 Super Coding. There is also a place for Codex, ChatGPT's coding model, to look over the code that Claude builds, because Claude is not very good at critically analyzing its own code. There's a use for both, but for reasoning, honesty, and integrity, easy, Claude wins. ChatGPT, if you want hallucinations, lying, and a sketchy CEO, then use ChatGPT. If you like to be told that you're awesome and never critically analyzed, use ChatGPT. If you want real answers for real problems, use Claude. Both have some use though, especially the coding models. So here's the rule you can act on the second this ends. Open both subscriptions, look at the last 2 weeks of how you actually used them, not how you imagined you would. Find the one you reach for more and the one that fit your real bottleneck. Keep that one. Cancel the other today, not next month. You don't lose much by committing to one. The gap between them on ordinary daily work is smaller than the internet makes it sound. What you gain is one tool you get truly fluent in, plus the money you were quietly bleeding on the second subscription. The whole Claude versus ChatGPT fight is a trap when you frame it as best versus worst. Frame it as which one fits your bottleneck, and the answer gets obvious, and your card stops getting charged twice. If this saved you a subscription, subscribe for more plain English AI breakdowns built for normal people running real work. not engineers. And tell me which two tools I should put head to head next, because there's a money leak hiding in almost every pair. I'll go find it and break it down the same way.